Unfortunately, Kansas City has garnered national attention from horrible child abuse cases this past year. One of those cases involved a juvenile handcuffed to a pole in the basement. KCPD's Jonathan Stone was the first officer on the scene.
We have a call to support DFS who had to gather information on juvenile and a report of child abuse. And she allowed us in, and I asked where David Jr. was at. She said he's downstairs sleeping. So I said, well, I'm going to go let him know we're there, okay, so if he hears our voices, he's not worried. She said, I'll let him know. I said, no, you just stay here. I flipped the light switch on. I immediately heard a voice of a child repeating, I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything. As we come around the corner, we noticed that there was a child handcuffed around the metal support beam that's holding the house up, laying on the concrete floor. His living conditions at that time was simply a thin, it looked like a knitted blanket on the floor to lay on, and they provided a pillow. David appeared to be a outside the malnutrition, a normal 17-year-old boy. Kansas City Police Department is very proactive when it comes to crimes against children. Matter of fact, we have our own unit that is dedicated to that aspect. They also provide specific training for officers who would like to further their ability on identifying possible crimes, whether it be abductions or just abuse and neglect. And so through that training, I believe that without it, there's a good chance that when the lady said, no, that boy doesn't live there, and DFS looked at us and said, I think we might have the wrong address, there's a good chance we might have just walked away. And who knows if David's still being there today.
If you suspect a child is being abused or neglected, please contact authorities. Many professionals are required by law to report it. We spoke with Officer Linda Hacker-Bristow, an expert on child abuse cases.
It's very important that all the community realizes that anyone can make a hotline call to the child abuse hotline. Once a hotline call is made, DFS or the Children's Division is required to make an appearance or to check out the call in some way, whether it be either show up at the door, which they could, or go to the school, or whatever the circumstances are. They may or may not have a police officer with them, and they're going to ask some very basic questions. If you make a report and it turns out to be not a valid report, or say you just saw a child running around in the street and didn't know where he belonged, you can't get in any kind of trouble for that. And mandated reporters are of course, the law enforcement, social workers, but it also includes medical professionals, daycare workers. Anyone like that is also required to. Clergymen, even people that you wouldn't think would necessarily be mandated reporters, like dentists, your pastor, your preacher. So there's a lot of people that are required as mandated reporters or required by law to make a call of anything that seems like suspicious or that a child may indeed be in danger.
Nationally, there are 3.5 million child abuse reports made every year. Every day, 5 children die in the U.S. as a result of child abuse. By making a call to the Child Abuse Hotline, you might save a life. I'm Officer Shelley Gaddis. Have a safe week.